morning, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us here and giving us an extra minute to get started. I am Jason Zukevich. Wanted to really thank everyone for spending part of their day with us. It's a very exciting day here at Flex, one that we've been waiting for a bit to finally release the Staffing Plus product to general availability. We've just been super excited about the enthusiasm for this effort since we launched it mid last year. We've had 50 plus people participate in beta testing. Over 400 people have joined us for a webinar to learn more about the product. And, perhaps most exciting, we've got, about 50 people that have signed up to be part of our free 30-day trial starting later today. So that's the most exciting news. I've got Chris Stein, our CEO, here to share a little bit of background around Staffing Plus, and perhaps even more exciting, what lays on the roadmap ahead for Flex for the rest of the year. And then we'll hand it over to Branden, who will walk us through. Many of you have joined us in December to see kind of where the product was heading. Branden's going to go through exactly what will be put into your hands as you get your 30-day free trial started. And then towards the end, we'll talk a little bit more about the pricing model in Q&A. So hopefully that will be a productive conversation for us all. And without further ado, I'll hand it off to Chris.
Hey guys, it's great to have you here with us. This is an exciting day. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris Stein. I'm the CEO and founder of Flex Rental Solutions. Our goal from the beginning was really to provide a platform for our customers to efficiently manage their rental inventory assets and then plan and execute their live events and rental life cycle on top of our platform. And we're really excited where we've come from. We've got over 1,000 customers worldwide. Many of our new customers are migrating from other platforms, tell us that one of the main reasons that they're migrating is they've outgrown the limited feature set in the other products. And so that brings us to today, and we're adding even more features and functionalities that were requested by many of our customers to better help manage their staffing needs for these live events. Before we get to that, I want to go over and highlight our roadmap for the rest of the year. This is just one of our initiatives that we've been working on, but we've got a large growing team of employees, and our goal is to continue to deliver value and features that will help you. We will continue to develop on our core platform, and those include bug fixes, UI polishing, but we've got even more new features in our core platform coming out this year that we'll be announcing and add more features and functionality there. Where we are today, we are launching Flex StaffingPlus. We call this our MVP. It stands for Minimal Viable Product. And what this is the core features and functionality to get started in the outsourcing of labor. And what this slide shows us is we will not stop here. We will continue to add more and more features here. We will have developers in this area till the end of the year and on. We do not expect to be done with this product for many years, and we will continue to add features and value in that area. Other new things that we are talking about today, and just giving you a quick insight into our roadmap, we will be launching an e-signature platform with DocuSign late Q2. We currently have customers alpha testing that, and we'll again continue to develop even more and more features upon that integration platform in the coming months. And we will also be launching a payments integration embedded into the product for you to send electronic payment requests through Flex to your customers. And that will be this year also. So really exciting time for us. I love getting back to building the product and adding more features and value and letting you manage your live events. With that, I will turn this over to Branden for the demo on the Staffing Plus. Thank you.
Jason,
Brendan really asked me to do a stop demo time for all those that are old enough to remember MC Hammer here.
okay.
So, that's not all I got for you, though, Brandon.
I saw you talking and you were muted. I thought you had something important to say, but that was good too.
Very.
Okay, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Jason. I'm excited to share what we have today. I know that some of you were at our last webinar just about 2 months ago, and some of this will probably be a little bit of a rinse and repeat for you. But I'm excited to show you what we have now because a lot of what y'all from the previous webinar asked in our Q&A, there are things that we were able to either address and implement, or at least have some updates regarding some of those questions as well. So before some of you start putting some questions in the Q&A, maybe wait until we get through most of this demo because we might answer a lot of your questions. But yeah, if you do have any other questions remaining, then we do have the Q&A open in which you can ask some questions about the product. So let me share my screen and we can just start going through this demo. Like Chris was saying, this is the product of a lot of hard work and us talking to our customers and trying to understand what they need for their staffing as they are planning their events. I want to acknowledge some people on my team who've really helped in this effort. Last year, or I guess late 2022, we had a UX designer come on board, Ray, and she's been great at just talking to our customers and eliciting feedback and getting user stories out of y'all from just asking questions about what you need. And that has been instrumental in helping us develop a lot of the Staffing Plus product that you're going to see today. We also have Jordan, our product owner, who's been great at just taking the ideas that we come up with and making sure that they run through the sprint process and make sure that they get developed. Patrick, he's our business analyst. He's great at writing all the technical requirements so the developers know what to build. Chelsea's our project manager. She's been helping a lot with just making sure that everybody's communicating. And I just want to recognize all of them as being such an instrumental part of this process. It's not just a 1 or 2 person effort, not to mention all the developers and the QA analysts that have helped us to get to this point. So I know a lot of you are here watching. I appreciate all of you. Hats off to you. Thank you for all of the great work that you've done. So the main person, or I guess persona, that we've been focused on through building this entire product is who we call the labor coordinator, the staffing coordinator. We recognize that not all of you have that exact position on your staff. Sometimes it's just an account manager who's building your jobs and events. Sometimes it's an operations person. Sometimes it's the CEO. Sometimes it's just all hands on deck who kind of do the staffing booking and whatnot for your organization. But we created this persona of the labor coordinator, and a lot of the screens, a lot of the features, and the way that the flow works is kind of focused on that person. But we did keep in mind that, a lot of times there are multiple people who are doing that and tried to create this functionality so that it speaks to not just our core persona here, but anybody who might have a hand in this process. What we're going to cover today is the core functionality. Once you have Staffing Plus enabled in your system, then you will see this functionality. If you do not have Staffing Plus enabled in your system, then you will just kind of have a standard staffing experience where you'll see the same things that you're used to. But once you do have Staffing Plus enabled in your system, you will see some of this enhanced functionality and features that we'll be showing you today. We're going to start by looking at the ability to send inquiries, availability inquiries, and offers using our new Staffing Assistant Plus. So let's open just a demo job here. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of labor roles. This is all just kind of standard, how you're used to building that with your service offerings and your Flex system. The first thing that you will notice once you have the Staffing Plus module enabled in your system is that now your Staffing Assistant is called the Staffing Assistant Plus. Let's look at a few of the things that you get with the Staffing Assistant Plus. First of all, you'll notice that just the grid is a little bit bigger now. You're seeing some basic information like email, phone, bill rate. just things that will help you to be able to contact and communicate with your people a lot quicker. But the really cool thing is that we've implemented these new processes of being able to send out availability inquiries or offers to selected contacts. So previously you were kind of used to just, choosing a single contact, clicking OK, and that will assign them to a crew call. And essentially that process was you just saying, I have chosen this person, they have agreed to do the job, and now I'm assigning them to that job. What we've been missing in Flex is just all of the stuff that happens in between that, like checking if people are actually available, sending them an offer, and seeing if they accept the offer before we even assign them to the job. So let's walk through what some of this looks like, and then after I show you, we'll look at a couple of the settings that affect how this all works, and some of the things that you can change to make it work more for your workflow and your operation. So let's just go ahead and choose some people that I want to send an availability inquiry to. What happens here is this pulls an email template that you can modify, and we'll go look at that in a few minutes, that will send individually to each of those contacts that I just selected. We intend the availability inquiry to kind of act as not a job offer, but as something that you are basically just sending out to a bunch of people saying, hey, I've got some dates that I'm just checking to see if you're available for. You can put more information about the job if you want. That's really up to you and how you operate. But the way that we built this was kind of meant to be just a email blast to multiple people just asking, hey, are you available? Yes or no. And the reason that we do that is so that now when I send those out and people start responding, you can just get a very quick live update regarding if somebody is actually available. We heard a lot of feedback from our customers as we were interviewing them about their staffing needs. And one of the big things that we heard was a lot of you were spending hours on end just trying to call and email people just to see if they're even available before you're even offering them to work on this event. So we wanted to implement a way where you could quickly choose a bunch of people and just send out a single blast and then start getting responses from them. Let me show you what this looks like to the actual contact that you sent it to. So I'm going to drag over my email. Jason, can you give me a nod, or are we seeing this okay? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't sharing only my window. I'm sharing my whole screen. So they will receive an email that will just be the exact email template that we had in the system. And then they have a button that they click here to respond that will take them to a page where they can either say yes or no to the inquiry and even add some additional notes. So I'm going to say yes, and then let's just say, I'm going to put some notes in here just for the sake of the example. And I've got a few Flex people who hopefully have responded as well. Oh, great. Look at that. Thanks, everybody. So Chris is going to need per diem and hotel. He sounds like he's a little bit needy. I'm probably not going to use him. Okay, we're already going to have some pizza there, so that'll be great. So yeah, just some interesting, people just giving their additional notes and insights into why they said yes or no that might be useful for you. So now I can look at that and see who has said yes, review any of their notes, and choose somebody that I want to actually send a job offer to. So let's choose Patrick. I like that he likes pizza. This is going to be based on a separate email template that you can go and modify. And again, we'll go look at those in just a second. He'll get an email, kind of the same experience for him. He'll click that button that will take him to that response page. He can say yes or no, and then I will know whether or not he accepted that offer. We can refresh a couple times. I think he's listening, and hopefully he's going to go and do that soon. In the meantime, let me show you how you can modify those things so that they are a bit more attuned to your operation, because we give you basic templates that are set up already, but they may not really speak to how you speak to your freelancers or to the people that you are offering these roles to. So first, let's go to our staffing settings. So when you have the staffing module enabled in your system, you'll see this new staffing menu, and then go to staffing settings. If you go to the Staffing Assistant Plus section, here you can actually change the names of availability inquiries or offers. Those are just the default names that we gave, just so that you have something to get up and running with. But maybe this doesn't really speak to how you do things. Maybe you would call this something like checking in. And then I guess the plural would sound kind of funny, checking ins. Maybe we just call them check-in or check-ins. And maybe you don't call your offer an offer. Maybe you want to call it a, I don't know, just maybe job offer, something like that. You can change that to whatever you want. And then you can also choose which email template will send when you're performing each of those actions. And those email templates just live in the same place that we're used to. Projects menu, email templates. And then you can double click and go in there and modify this to be whatever you want. And you can use all the various field types like you're used to when you modify email templates. You just do the double bracket, and here are all of the different pieces of information that you can pull from the job that you're sending this from that can be included in the email template. You can have things like load-in dates. You can have things like show dates. You can have responsible person, the responsible person phone number, all that kind of stuff. So you are not going to be stuck with whatever template we give you. We encourage you to go in and modify that so that it works and looks a little bit more how you speak to people. Another big one, and this actually came from some feedback from the last webinar. What happens if somebody gets this email and instead of clicking to respond, they actually click reply and just reply to the email itself? Well, we are able to implement a reply to address. The emails always have to come from a single source. That has to do with some rules that Google and Yahoo have been implementing that we have to follow. So our emails always have to come from this email address, but you can set a reply to address so that if your contacts hit reply to the actual email, then it can send to whatever you supply here. Additionally, there's a really cool feature that we implemented in the staffing settings for Staffing Assistant Plus. By default, the from name, and again, if we look at the email that's sent, that's coming from somebody called Flex StaffingPlus. Well, I would imagine that a lot of your contacts have no idea what Flex or Flex StaffingPlus is. So here you can come and actually enter a from name that is maybe your company name or an individual, something that's more familiar to the contacts that you are sending these emails to. So maybe I'd change it to something like this. And let's really quick just send an inquiry again, and I'll show you what it looks like now. Except now I call it a check-in, remember? Let's grab that email, pull it over. Now we can see that this is coming from AV company, and the reply to address is whatever I entered in that email template. So it just makes it so it'll be a lot easier for you to personalize it and make sure that when people, if they respond to the actual email, that it goes to the right place instead of an unmonitored inbox. Let's go back to that role and see. Looks like Patrick said yes. He said hi. At this point, I can just select him and say, okay, he's the one that I'm going to assign to that role. I've already assigned somebody to this role, though. I should have checked that earlier. Let's go and remove that from our crew call. Or I guess I don't really have to, but essentially you just know that you can go through that whole process of first sending out an inquiry or whatever you call it, then sending out an offer, and then once you've received the confirmation from people, then it just gives you the decision-making power that you need to say, okay, well, I know that he's available. I know that he said yes to this offer. I can now assign him to that job and know that we're all on the same page. And I can do that for all of the roles that are in this event that I'm trying to staff. And so that brings up one point. I know that we're going to talk a little bit more about pricing after my demo, but I wanted to just briefly touch on how after the trial and the introductory pricing is, after that, how the pricing is going to work in terms of your usage. So for the introductory period, you just get unlimited usage. But after that introductory period, we're going to implement a pricing model that will be based on how many roles that you have sent those inquiries or offers to. So let's look at this one, for example, the video switcher. I have sent multiple inquiries and I can send multiple offers. In fact, pretend that Patrick said no, I could send an offer to more people. And I could do that as many times as I want on this one role that I'm trying to staff. And that will just count as one usage. We're essentially saying, as soon as you initiate any sort of contact on this role that you're trying to fill, then that counts as one towards your usage total. So again, I could send 50 inquiries and 20 offers on this one role, but since it's just a single role, I'm only going to count that as one towards my usage. And then as soon as I go down to this A1 audio engineer, start sending out some inquiries, now that I have initiated contact with people on this role now counts as towards my usage as well. So now I would be at 2 towards my usage. So that's how we are going to price this in the future. Again, Jason will explain kind of the details, the introductory period, and how that all works. But for now, I just wanted to explain in this demo, that's kind of how it works, is that it will be based on as soon as you have initiated any kind of contact, and then for each role that you do that on, that will just count as one towards your total. So it's not based on I sent 10 inquiries, so now my usage is 10. No, it just means once I have initiated that contact, this now counts as one. So like I said, we'll explain that a little bit more after the demo, and we'll make sure that everybody understands that as we roll out that pricing later on. But just wanted to show you live so that you can understand how that works. We covered these settings here, and we looked at the email template, so I think we're good on that. That is how the Staffing Assistant Plus works in terms of being able to send out those inquiries, offers, see the additional information. Let's look at bill rates really quick. That's one thing that you can control. If you go into a contact entry, when you go to the bill rates tab now, and again, this will only be visible if you have the Staffing Plus module enabled in your system, you can now go and set a bill rate per individual skill that this contact has enabled. So if you look at their skills tab, anything that they have enabled, you can now set a specific bill rate for. So if this is selected to none, their bill rate will just be the generic bill rate that they charge. Let's set one for hourly as well. But then I can come down here and say, well, as an A1 audio engineer, I charge a little bit more. If I am hired to be an A2 audio engineer, maybe I'll charge just a little bit less. So you can put these individual bill rates into each contact so that when you launch the Staffing Assistant Plus, I guess I should have done one in which I just set the bill rates for that contact. You can start seeing those bill rates. And it's based on whatever the pricing model is for the line item that you're trying to staff. So if this were hourly rate, this would show that contact's hourly bill rate. And what does that mean if it shows in yellow? That just means that this is the default bill rate for this contact. They don't have anything entered for that specific skill, so it's just showing you the default. And of course, if they have nothing entered, it'll just show 0. So that is the Staffing Assistant Plus. Really excited about that one. I think it will be able to save a lot of time in your booking process and just give you the information that you're looking for as you are trying to staff people for your various roles. Let's move on and look at the feature that we are calling shifts. First, I want to show an example of how some of you are probably used to doing some things. Let me find the one that I was trying to demo this on earlier. Some of you are probably used to this, where as you are building a job and you're building the labor roles that will be on that job, you'll do something like this. You'll build an entire day. You go into the subtotal. You will say the hours for that specific day, and then you will copy it. You'll paste it. You'll go and edit that subtotal. You'll call that day 2. You'll update the dates to reflect which date it actually is. And you'll do this over and over. Sometimes for, a week long or longer job, you're going to have to do this 7, 8, 10 different times. Now, we recognize that for some of you, this is really absolutely how you have to do it, because you have to keep track of rates for each day. Your clients need to know that information, and that's fine. So what I'm about to show you isn't necessarily us saying you should do it the new way because that's the right way, because we understand that the right way is relative to however you operate. But we did hear from a lot of our customers that really the only reason that you were doing this was so that you can specify a specific day and time for each role, so that when you get to your crew call, you have something like this. No, wrong one. I wanted the... Sorry, I had so many of these that I've been demoing. I'm just trying to remember which one. Essentially, though, the crew call will end up with a line for each and every day, and that will make it so that you can send all of that daily information to the contacts. But for a lot of you, you were giving us feedback that that was just a lot of work, and you wish that there was an easier way to do that that didn't mean you had to crowd up your quote with hundreds of lines of just labor. Not to mention the fact that once you've created multiple roles, you have to go and assign somebody to each of those roles individually. It just turns into a lot of work. So we created what we think is a better way, where if you have multiple roles that need to be staffed on a job over the course of multiple days, then you can now manage the daily call times, the daily shifts, using our shifts feature on the crew call. So let's go to our crew call. We have some people who are already assigned here. Notice the start and end dates. What I can do now is just go to that single line and say schedule shifts. And that will give me a pop-up that shows me each day within the date range of the start and end time here. And I can click on that, and I can enter shift information for that specific day. I can give it a name if I want. I encourage you to give it names. I think it's nice to specify what's happening on that day. Give it specific times. And you can do that for each day. If I don't enter a name, it will just default to whatever day that is in the range. So that just makes it a lot easier to manage the specific shifts for each day for this role. And once you save those, you can see those on the Shift Schedules tab. You can also run the crew list time card report. And that will, let's see, where did that go? My downloads. It won't let me drag that window over, but it will show any shifts on that report that you're used to. And then you can also utilize a new email field type so that when you send an email to this contact, then it will show them any shift information that they have set up. So the way that you can do that, let's go back to our email templates, and we're looking at the crew call email template here. This is the one that sends when you click that menu on a line item on your crew call. And what we're using here is a new field type called the shift details. So if you want to add that, just do the double bracket, start searching for shift details, and you can put that into your email template. You can leave the previous call times if you want. Remember, the call times email field type will show you the start and end date of the line item with the role that is being filled. But here, as you can see, the shift details are just showing us all of the daily shifts that you entered on that line item to give this contact more information about what's expected of them on a daily basis. Some feedback that we got last time that we showed this feature was, can you do this in bulk? And I'm excited to show you that we can. Select the lines that you want to do the bulk on, click bulk schedule shifts. The first thing that you're going to do is choose which days you actually want the bulk action to apply to. This is really similar to how we do other bulk, where you have to choose which field you want the bulk action to apply. And if you don't select that, then it won't do anything. So we do the same thing with the bulk schedule shifts. Maybe you're trying to schedule every single day for this entire job run. And that's great. So you can do that. Just select every day. You go to the next, and then start adding those shifts. Or maybe what you're trying to do is you've already scheduled shifts for a bunch of these lines, and you realize that the 6th has now changed, and you only want to bulk edit that. So you select all the lines that you want to bulk edit for, go to bulk schedule shifts. Let's unselect all days and only choose the 6th. Now when I go to the next, it only gives me the option to change the shift for the 6th. And I can enter the new shift details. And now that's only going to apply to the 6th. And if we look at the shift schedules now, we can see that that happened. Of course, it didn't happen on this line because their start and end date doesn't even fall within the 6th. So they didn't get that change on that day. So that was probably in fact, not probably, that was the most asked question in our last webinar. So I'm excited to show you that we have implemented that and that will be part of the StaffingPlus module on day 1. And that just goes to show that, we hear you guys, we listen to your feedback. Whenever you give us that feedback about how we can make the product better, we definitely hear that. We may not be, perfectly responsive back to you and give you updates of everything that's happening, but we definitely hear that feedback. We take it very seriously, and we do our best to implement it within any constraints that we might have. So I was really happy to get that one implemented. So that is the shifts feature. And I hope that everybody finds a lot of use in that and makes it so that you don't have to build quite as long of labor role lists in your jobs, and you can just utilize that feature now to get the same thing that you were looking for previously. A couple other things that we'll show you.
Those have a few comments in the Q&A that shift details and bulk editing looks amazing. It looks like it's going to save people time. So
great.
There's some enthusiasm.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not monitoring that Q&A, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you, everybody. I'm excited about it too. And just so everybody knows as well, that feature is not done. We still have some other ideas that we're looking at that we want to implement. We've been thinking very hard about how we can implement shifts on a financial document line item. So far, it's only limited to a crew call, but we've been getting some feedback from some of our early users that they would want to add those shifts earlier on in the process so that they have shifts on this line item so that when they start sending out check-ins, offers, or whatever, then they can reference those daily shifts. And we've kind of been looking into the possibility of, if you put shifts on a line item on a financial document, could you also apply a pricing model to those shifts? Because again, one of the biggest reasons that we hear from people as to why you build your quotes like this is because you need a specific pricing model for each day to break it down to give an accurate quote. So if that's something that we are able to do, add a shift on a line item here and have those shifts be calculating price, then I think that could be hugely useful for you. So right now that's still kind of just in the discovery phase. No promise as to when and if that can actually be released, but just again, showing how we've heard your feedback and we take that very seriously and we want to implement as much as we can to address the needs that you have. I just want to wrap up by showing a couple of other things. Those two things I kind of consider the big features that are really going to be the big time savers. But this other one I'm actually really excited about too. This is called the staffing dashboard. We have long had ways in which you can see all the jobs that have staffing needs. Some of you might have used the staffing assistant on the projects menu, but it's never really been a super great visual experience. We wanted to implement something that lets you see all of your jobs that have roles that need to be staffed and give you a quick and easy way to see that bird's eye view and also to be able to staff those roles from this page. So if you see a line that is not staffed yet, you can double click and it launches your Staffing Assistant Plus. You can also modify or at least change your settings to change what shows on this page. By default, it's only going to show elements that are in a status that is in conflict creating. So in your status options settings, if conflict creates conflicts equals yes, but you can go into your staffing settings and you can change that. So maybe I also want to see jobs that are in the inquiry state. Maybe that's how I operate at the company. Something might still be in inquiry, but it's something that I at least want to have my eye on and know that I might have some staffing needs for that inquiry job. So you can change those settings and have it show those different statuses per your settings. And then we also have this nice Gantt view over here that kind of just gives you a view of all of the different jobs and times. The main job follows the same status color that you have set in your system. Just a nice bird's eye view of any potential conflicts and things like that. You can see there might be a little bit of a conflict here, so we might want to be careful of booking the same people over these overlapping jobs. And again, we're hearing a lot of great feedback about what can be useful for you on this page, and we're continuing to explore what the best new features and functionality will be for this page. But so far, I think this is a really good start for just giving you a very overview and quick glance of just everything that you need to staff between this date range so that you don't miss anything. And then the other thing that we have as part of the staffing module, we heard this from a lot of you as well, that part of your workflow is to create labor POs for the people who worked your job so that you can send those out and say, this is what we determined you worked. This is the rate that we agreed on. This is what we anticipate you billing us for. So when you have a whole lot of people who have worked your job and you have to create a labor PO for each, that can be kind of time consuming. So you can either come into each line and click Create Labor PO real quickly, and it will pre-populate all the information. The vendor will be the contact. Or you can select all lines and do that in bulk. Bulk Create Labor POs over here. And that will create labor POs for each line with the contact as the vendor. Right now, we have that just creating the PO. And the line item details, we are still taking in some feedback to get a sense of exactly what you want to see auto-populate here, because everybody works a little bit differently. We didn't just want to assume what you want to see here, so we're still collecting feedback in that regard to see what would be the best information for to pre-populate here as you create those POs. But that's another piece of functionality that will be part of the Staffing Plus module on day one. The last thing I will show you is we've also implemented this authorized users settings for the staffing settings. So when you first get Staffing Plus enabled in your system, you'll want to go to the staffing settings, and this is only accessible to system administrators at this point. And then you come in and choose which users you want to be able to use all of these features. If it's most of your users, then great, just enable as many as you want. But we got the sense that a lot of people didn't want just average like warehouse employees or some of your account managers to be able to access some of that functionality. So we wanted to implement this authorized users so that you can pick and choose exactly who gets to use it. So only people who are enabled will be able to do all of those things that I just showed you, and anybody else will just have the same experience that they are used to in Flex. But I think that is what I wanted to demo this time. Went a little bit longer this time just because we had more to show. But yeah, I'm really excited to be able to show all of that and just show how we've been adapting to some of your feedback, how we will continue to adapt to your feedback. I was going to spend a little bit of time, but I think I'd rather leave the rest of our time for some Q&A and let Jason share the rest of the slideshow that he had as well. But we can send you to a link that will show you a lot of what we have kind of on our roadmap. And there's quite a few things right now. We are actively engaged in planning for those things right now, figuring out when we can do them, if we have the resources to do them. We have just dozens of features and functionality right now that we intend on adding to StaffingPlus. So just like we saw on the slide earlier, don't think that we're done. We're going to be actively working on this and dedicating resources towards it for the indefinite future. So with that, I think I'll turn it back to Jason. He'll share the rest of his presentation, and then I think we'll have a little bit of time for some Q&A as well.
Great. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Let me pull back up our slide deck here. I will not repeat my hammer time joke. I will spare y'all. As Brandon mentioned, we wanted to talk a little bit more about the pricing model. We shared this via email, and there has been a few questions, so we want to be as clear as we can. So I think where we stand today from an introductory pricing offer is, we're offering a free 30-day trial to everybody. As mentioned, we'll have a good swath of those that will be activated later this afternoon. Hopefully you're willing to join the party per se, the launch party. From once the 30-day trial completes, we'll continue with our introductory pricing offer of $100 per month, which includes all StaffingPlus features and unlimited contact inquiries. That will go through June 30th. After that point, we'll convert folks to our Tier 1 StaffingPlus plan. That will be the same $100 a month as the introductory offer, and include all features and 25 contact inquiries. Additional inquiries beyond that will be billed at $3 per inquiry, and I'll get into some larger plans and talk about how we can scale to meet your needs here in a moment. To kind of really recap a little bit of what Brandon shared earlier, just wanted to kind of talk through this in a kind of the real world model, right? So for the product launch event we were looking at with Brandon, we needed to staff that video switcher role. We identified 15 potential people and sent them all an availability inquiry. So this is a new contact inquiry, and our count would be 1. Towards that 25 or whatever number of inquiries you have available. If you receive 10 responses indicating who is available and who isn't, that's still the same inquiry, right? So we're still at 1. If you decide to send an offer to our favorite of the 5 that were available, we're still at 1 inquiry. Person accepts offer and is staffed to the role, we're still at 1. When you go to fill that A1 audio engineer job on that same event, that's when you would have another inquiry counted towards your total. So hopefully that helps clarify kind of the model and the usage. And these are just for those that may need more than 25 per month. We do have plans that will kind of scale to meet your needs. As you can see, the cost dips kind of every step of the way by a pretty good chunk. Also wanted to mention that as we wrap up our introductory pricing offer towards the end of June, we'll also look to introduce a pay-as-you-go program. So, be on the lookout for that for those that may not need 25 per month. So what's next? Hopefully everyone's excited about what they've seen today and ready to kind of get in and experience it yourself. Kind of sign up for your free 30-day trial today. I'll drop a note here in the chat momentarily once I'm not sharing my screen. And then I think for the next bit here, at least for the next 2 weeks and beyond, depending on how valuable it is to you all, we're going to be having weekly office hours. Make sure we're getting your questions answered, as I'm sure there are some things that will come up. Wanted to make ourselves available. You'll see a link for this in the thank you email for the webinar. The first one will be next Tuesday, March 4th at noon Eastern, and we'll look to repeat these, kind of on that same time slot moving forward. Then if you have any other questions, we've got 29 in the Q&A here. We'll get to as many of those as we can. And for those that we can't answer here, we will put together a response and get that out to you in the next week or so. But if there's anything pertinent, please feel free to email us, and we'll make sure we get those questions answered. So with that, I think thank you again for attending. We've got about 30 questions here in the Q&A. So I'm going to quickly, before we get there, I'm going to share a quick survey link with you all. As Brandon has shared earlier, we're very attuned to your feedback, and we love to get as much context as we can. So we're going to share a quick survey in the chat just to get your thoughts on kind of where we are with Flex StaffingPlus and today's webinar. So hopefully everyone can see that. And I'm also going to share the link for those that may be ready to sign up for the 30-day trial. So with that, we can kick off the Q&A session. Chris, not sure if you want to kind of rejoin via video, but and Brandon, if you had a moment to take a look at some of these questions, you want to start picking some off, but while I catch what's there.
There's a few that I think are some pretty quick and easy answers. Some other ones that I might have to think about a little bit more, and we'll just do a follow-up email because we are recording all of these questions, and I'll have a little bit more time to look into those. But just looking at a few here that I think I can address quickly, and let me reshare my screen so I can walk through some of that. One good one is the reply to email a global setting only? It is, but also you have a little bit of flexibility there. So if I'm on my availability inquiry template, I can set reply to that is a specific person, or maybe just a company email or something like that. But you can also use the special code that a lot of you are probably used to, which is the user code. And what that will do is it will pre-populate the reply to address with whoever the logged in user is. So in this case, I am the logged in user. So if I go and send an inquiry, then it will populate with the email address that's associated with my user. If Chris were logged in, then it would populate with his address. So it is a global setting, but I think that might speak a little bit to probably what you were looking for, is you can make it a little bit more personalized based on using that setting. One other one, I think we briefly touched on this. Can you schedule shifts before you inquire or book someone to the position? Let me speak to that really quick because adding the ability to add shifts to a financial document would actually help you in that, because if you are initiating your inquiries and offers from a financial document line, then you could have those shifts there earlier. So like I said, that's something that we're looking into now. The other thing that you can do, and I see a lot of our customers do this, is you don't have to staff somebody yet in order to get these labor lines onto a crew call. Just as a quick example, let's copy this quote really quick. I don't have a crew call for this quote yet. I don't have to go assign anybody, but I can go and click my update staffing paperwork. And assuming that you have all your automation settings set up correctly, that will create a crew call with all of the roles that were on that job. And here I can go add the shifts, and then I can initiate my inquiries and offers from the crew call line as opposed to the financial document. So that's one way that you can kind of get around that.
Hey, Brandon, go back to the go to fill a shift really quick right there, just on the three dot menu, and show them
Sure.
what exclamation point looks like and what it is.
Yeah, and that was actually the next, because I saw a few people ask about this. So getting notifications or warnings about if you have already inquired somebody or if they are already working another job. As of now, this available column, we didn't really change anything with this. This is always meant, is this person assigned to another job in your Flex system? It doesn't really speak to any outside or external availability, but we have put in some additional information that lets you know if you've already contacted this person about something within the range. So we look at this date range and I'm getting this little exclamation that says there have been some existing inquiries, check-ins, or offers during the date range. We're still working on this a little bit to provide more information about what those inquiries or offers were. But for now, we just started with giving you a warning that, hey, just a heads up before you send anything out, this person has had some things sent out to them already. And then additionally, I can give you a quick sneak peek at something that we're working on here. Here is a internal system that we use that has all the live new stuff that we're working on that's not quite ready for you yet. But we are working on a global page that will allow you to view all inquiries and offers that you have sent out. And this will change dynamically based on what you call it in your system. And it will list everything. And then you can start filtering it by contact, by job name, who has said yes, what the role was, etc. So we're working on that. That will be part of hopefully our next release. So it's not part of the launch that you would see if you get enabled today. But in 2 weeks, we're hoping to see this as part of the standard functionality in the StaffingPlus module. So glad you mentioned that, Chris, because I saw that a couple times in the Q&A.
What are near-term roadmap features that you see?
Yeah, glad you asked that too. So let me pull up our help center, and I encourage everybody to go here and look at our labor and staffing section. And we have a whole section on just StaffingPlus. For the past few weeks, I've been working on all of these articles. I've created brand new videos that go through everything. But we also have a section in which we kind of explain what the StaffingPlus module currently does and what are some planned features and functionality. Disclaimer, none of this is a promise. Some of it is stuff that we're still looking at the viability of and if it's even possible. But some things that we are considering are things like when you have a contact schedule. So let's go back into Flex really quick. Instead of only showing jobs that they are currently assigned to, we could also show non-event type availability. So if somebody's just straight up not available, then that would show on this. Yeah, vacations or just other reasons. And that speaks to some of the other things that we want to implement. And I've seen some questions in the Q&A about this as well. Essentially like a way for the freelancer, for the contact that you are sending the emails to, for them to enter their own availability. So when they go to that page and say yes or no to a specific inquiry or offer, we're looking at how we can implement a calendar or something on that page where they can also say, I'm also not available on these days and these days. I'm entire month of June not available, and having that speak back to their calendar and to their availability so that you can know when they're not available for other things outside of your Flex system. That has long been a request, and we're excited that that is something that we're looking into doing now. We've also heard some comments too. I'm seeing in the Q&A people asking about like, can the freelancers fill in their own information and stuff like that? Those are some things that we're also looking at, like on those external pages now that they are able to access to give their yes or no response. We're also looking at what other kind of pages can we implement that a freelancer can look at. That doesn't mean they need to log into Flex, because you don't want to give every single one of your freelancers a login. But what are some other pieces of information that would be useful for them that you could send to them, and other ways for them to enter their own information, as opposed to you having to do all of that individually. So those are some of the things that we're looking at as well. But as you can see, just quite a few things here that we're considering. One of the biggest questions we got last time too was, can we send text messages, SMS through the Staffing Assistant Plus? We are actively looking into how we could do that now. It is a really huge can of worms, just a lot of rules and regulations that we have to abide by. So we're looking at everything that we would have to cover in order for that to be an option inside of the Staffing Assistant Plus. So just know that we are looking at that before you start asking, again, actively engaged in figuring out how we can do that. I think those were some of the good ones that I saw in the Q&A. We're kind of out of time at this point, so anything else I think we'll just leave to a follow-up.
Yeah, so thank you again, everybody. As mentioned, we have about 30 questions here, it looks like, that we didn't get to. So we will get those answered and get an email out to you as quickly as we can, probably before our first office hours. It came up in the chat that we did have the wrong date. March 4th is a Monday, so Tuesday, March 5th at noon Eastern Standard Time will be the office hours. The details, again, for that will be in the thank you email for those that signed up for this webinar, as will the recording of this event, which was also answered, so or which was also asked. So thank you again for your time today. Be on a lookout for a thank you email later today, and we're really excited for all of you that are starting your trial to get into the get into the product, start to experience it from a hands-on perspective, and look forward to your feedback along that journey. So with that, thank you again for your time today, and enjoy Flex Staffing Plus.